welcome back to my channel. So first of all, I just want to say that I'm sorry I haven't uploaded any videos recently, but as you can see from the title of this video, I have had appendicitis and therefore have been recovering. So I do apologise that I haven't uploaded any content, but now that I'm feeling better, I'm hoping to do more videos and get back to uploading on my YouTube channel. But for today's video, I just wanted to sit down and talk about my experience of having appendicitis, and if you have any questions, please do let me know in the comment box. So I'm just going to talk about how this started and right up to obviously having the surgery and what it's been like afterwards. So it was a Wednesday, and in the morning I had said to Phil, who is my partner, if you don't know that already, that I had really bad stomach ache and I just didn't feel very well. So I took some paracetamol and it went, and got to work and I was absolutely fine. And then throughout the day I was fine as well. I did get some pains, but they were so quick, there weren't much to think about really. I just was like, oh okay, that's gone, that's fine. And I got home, I was absolutely fine. I had my dinner, I even had a shower, washed my hair, dried my hair. We sat on the sofa and watched Love Island. Oh, how much I miss Love Island right now. I mean, being recovering, that would have been like the perfect TV to have and all like the after sun, but that's what we were doing. We're eating biscuits and watching Love Island, and it was about 10 o'clock at this point, and Phil said like, I need to go to bed, I need to get up, and I was like, yeah, that's fine. And as I stood up, I had the worst stomach pain. I felt so ill, and I was thinking, God, that's really just come on out of the blue. So I took some paracetamol, went to bed, but I just could not go to sleep. I was so uncomfortable and the pain was just getting increasingly worse. So Phil said to me, why don't I try and watch some Netflix to take my mind off things, which I did try and do, but the pain, like I said, was just getting worse and worse, and I just could not take my mind off it. I then also got to a point where I started to feel quite sick, so I ended up going into the bathroom. One, I didn't want to disturb Phil because I knew he had to get up early in the morning, and two, just in case I was actually going to be ill. So Albie, bless him, who's my little cat, sat with me in the bathroom while I just cried. I was in so much pain, I couldn't stop the tears, and I ended up in like the all fours position, just sort of rocking back and forth, because the pain started off in just like underneath my belly button and then started to move to my right hand side. I ended up going back into the bedroom, and I said to Phil, like, I'm really sorry, I don't want to wake you up, but I'm in so much pain. And he couldn't sleep anyway because all he could apparently hear was me crying, so he was just about to get up and come check on me anyway. And I said to him, I think we have to go to the hospital, but I ended up calling 111 because I wanted to avoid the hospital at all costs. And I phoned 111 and they said to me, somebody will call you back within the next half an hour, because I wasn't like high risk. And I did, I got a phone call back in half an hour. I went through it all again and I was told that somebody would call me back within the next 2 to 3 hours. So at this point the pain had sort of gone. It was like tingling, but it wasn't as bad, so I thought I'm just going to try and get some sleep. So I got back into bed. I couldn't stretch out because every time I tried to like put my legs under the covers, I was getting the pain, so I sort of just laid there in like this huddled position. Put my phone on loudspeaker and thought, let me just try and get some sleep, but within half an hour the pain had come back again. I was crying, and I ended up like this until someone called me back about 2 o'clock, and then I was told that they were going to put me on the out of hours list, so someone should call me back within the next hour. So at this point it was just sort of, somebody will call you back, somebody will call you back, someone will call you back. And then I did get a phone call at 3 o'clock, and I was asked if I could wait till the morning to see my GP, which was not going to be possible. I was just not going to make it through the night. I was in so much pain. And they were like, that's fine, can you get here within the next half an hour? So Phil drove me to hospital, and surprisingly, there is actually traffic at 3 o'clock in the morning. So, I didn't expect that, but we got there just after 3:30. There was nobody else there. I was seen straight away, and the doctor said to me, I think you've got appendicitis, after checking me all over and that. So she ended up calling the on-call surgeon. I was moved down to the A&E department, and I was just seen by doctors and doctors, and the doctor who was on duty didn't think I actually had appendicitis. So I thought, we'll do some bloods, we'll go from there. and I had my bloods taken at 4 in the morning and I got the results back at 7:45. So there was some waiting to do. The waiting room was freezing. At 7:45 I was seen by the doctor and she said to me that my blood results had come back and were showing an infection because my white cell count was higher than what it should be. And so the next thing they were going to do was a scan to check and see what was going on, but they were going to send me home because they didn't know when I was going to be able to have a scan done. So I really didn't want to keep going, you know, from one place to another. I just wanted to be at the hospital now and stay at the hospital and get whatever was going on sorted. So luckily this other doctor was going off duty and she was sort of doing a handover to this new doctor and was explaining my situation, and the new doctor that was coming on duty said, oh no, we're not going to send her home because they open at 8 o'clock, the department, to be able to do the scan, so we'll see what we can do. I thought this was like great, that's exactly what I wanted to hear. And I was moved down to the emergency surgical assessment team, and they were so nice in there. They literally treated me, well, one of the nurses literally treated me like I was her own daughter. She was so kind, she was so caring, and yeah, I had the best care. I couldn't fault the care that I had. And I had my scan done at 12 o'clock. And I knew that, I said to Phil as I came out, I know something wasn't right, because you can tell by how they were looking at certain things on the screen, how both of them were sort of chatting away, even though I had no idea what they were looking at, but I just had a feeling something wasn't right. And when I came out, Phil said, oh, do you know what's going on? Did you ask? I said no, but I know that something's wrong. Anyway, we went back to where we were before in the surgical team section, whatever you want to call it, and the doctor came round and said to me that I have appendicitis, my appendix was inflamed. As soon as he said those words, you're going to have surgery, I cried. And I know I'm 26 years old and probably should have just been like, right, yes, no, that's fine, but I've never had an operation before and I was so nervous. I didn't want to have a general anaesthetic. Really, it's sort of the fear of the unknown. You don't know what to expect, so it makes you nervous, and it was just my instant reaction to do was to cry. And I felt so sorry for the poor doctor because he was looking at me like, oh no, this is not what I expected, but he sort of went off to get the forms. I cried to Phil, I phoned my mum and dad. They were going to come over with a bag for me, for like my pyjamas and stuff, because obviously I was going to have to stay overnight. And this went on for a good few hours. I ended up having to have some antibiotics in my system because they had to prep me for surgery, and I am actually allergic to penicillin. So if you're not allergic to penicillin, you could just have like one bag of antibiotics. Now obviously this is all put through as a drip into your arm through a cannula, because when you have to have an operation you have to be nil by mouth, so you can't have any fluids or food. And like I said, because I'm allergic to penicillin, I had to have 4 types of antibiotics instead of just the one. So this went on for some time, especially because the last one had to be made and then given to me slowly on a machine that took 2 hours to do. And by this point it was now 7 o'clock and the team that I was on finished their work at 8. And so therefore they had to move me onto a ward, but they kept saying to me, you know, you're going to be going up for surgery anytime soon. So I kept waiting for that, thinking, okay, it's going to happen. In the meantime, the anaesthetist had been round and done some checks just to make sure all was alright, and gone through any medical history, that sort of thing. And it was really funny because at this point I'm full of antibiotics, I haven't really had much sleep, I'm in pain, I'm nervous, I've been crying, I'm fed up, I haven't had anything to eat or drink, and I just wanted it all to be over and done with at the same time. And I had to do some certain mouth exercises to show him that, I don't know what I was really having to show him, but I guess because you have to have a tube down your throat during the operation, I guess he was just seeing how my mouth moves and stuff. But he wanted me to put my bottom teeth above my top lip. Like that. Which I can do now. I think that's really funny in the camera lip. But I couldn't do it. And I'm looking at my mum and dad and Phil like cracking up laughing because I just could not do it. And they were laughing, the anaesthetist was laughing, and I don't know what was wrong with me. I think it was just a mixture of everything going on. I couldn't comprehend what I had to do. But yeah, at least that got us all laughing, got me laughing as well. But I was moved down onto my ward as the other place I was at was sort of closing. And I knew that my mum and dad and Phil would have to go at some point, and I was just really nervous because I didn't want to have to go down to surgery without them being there. And they kept saying I was going to go down, but by this time it was 10 o'clock at night, and I said to Phil, I don't see how I'm going to be going down now. So he went to check, and they were still saying I was going to go down. In the meantime, there was this lovely lady at the side of me. Her name was Jane, but I was so happy to have her there at my side because she was so lovely. She looked after me through the night. She kept my mind distracted from everything when my parents and Phil weren't there. And it was just so nice to have her there and be able to speak to somebody and understand that I just didn't want to be there, really. But neither did she. So we were having a lovely conversation about our holidays and what we had planned and trying just to take our minds off everything. But obviously she was like, I don't need to have surgery. So it was a bit of a different situation, but in the meantime she still didn't want to be at hospital. So it was nice to have her there, and I guess she liked it too because she had someone to chat to. And yeah, she actually took my dad's mobile number, so in case I did go down to surgery, she was going to phone them to let them know when I was back up on the ward. So that was really kind of her to offer to do that. But yes, I was still sort of prepping myself that I was going to go down for surgery. And it got to, well, I think it was about 10:30, and my mum and dad and Phil obviously had to go home. They had been there long enough, and it was even nice of the hospital to let them stay that long because normally all visitors had to be gone by 8. Just because obviously it's not really fair for other people on the ward that wanted to go to sleep as well. I'm so grateful for Phil and my mum and dad for being there for me. They didn't once leave my side until unfortunately they had to go home. Oh yeah, before that though, I wasn't taken down to surgery because the nurse came around and told us all that a man had to go down before me because his appendix was a lot worse. And at this point, I'm like, I've been suffering from this from 10 o'clock at night. It's now 10 o'clock the next night, and now I'm not going down. And I've sort of been prepping myself, and it just gets frustrating, doesn't it? You just sort of want it like to go and get it done so you could be back on the ward and it's over. And Phil actually said to the nurse at this point, Sophie had her scan done at 12 o'clock. It is now 10 o'clock at night. You're telling me that her appendix hasn't got worse throughout the day. When did this last man have his scan done? And I think she was literally like 20 minutes ago, and it was a CT scan. So a CT scan is going to show much more than an ultrasound. So Phil was just sort of having my back there, just querying about it, because obviously he didn't want my appendix to burst and to be in a worse state, and the fact that I'd been left all day waiting for the surgery to be told it's not going to happen now. Yeah, I think we were all just fed up and just really wanted me to go down and have it sorted, and obviously worried at the same time because I didn't want to have a burst appendix, because if I end up having a burst appendix I'm going to be in a lot worse state than what I was in. Anyway, going back to when they all had left, Jane and I were just talking for a bit, but I was really tired and wanted to go to sleep. And they did give me something to eat and something to drink, so I did have a cup of tea. And then had to stop eating by 2 o'clock in the morning, which nobody really wants to eat at that time anyway. I'd sort of gone past wanting to eat, to be honest. I really just wanted to drink. My lips were getting dry, and you know that horrible feeling when you haven't had anything to drink and your mouth is dry and your lips just feel like they're going to be cracking, and it was that. So I just really wanted a cup of tea, so at least I got that. Anyway, I did sleep for a bit just because I didn't have much sleep throughout the whole day really, and the night before. And then the next morning approached, and I actually was like in a better mood in the morning because I guess I had some sleep, but still very nervous at the same time. But I had sort of done with the tears at this point now. I sort of prepped myself that it's got to be done, and I think that's the worst part of it, isn't it? It's the waiting part, and you just want to have it done. And as soon as you're in there, I guess, you know, like, okay, it's happening now and it can be over and done with. Well, that's what I was trying to do until I actually got in the room, but you know, we'll get to that point. And my mum and dad came, and I sort of got ready for surgery, and I went down at 9:30 in the morning, so I was glad I went down in the morning, and in a way I was glad that it did happen the next day, because I had lovely surgeons, and I just, like I said from the start of this video, I couldn't fault the care. Everybody was so nice, everyone kept me calm and relaxed, and I met the surgeon, he came down. To have the appendix out, by the way, it is not like they make an incision at your side anymore. It's all done what's called keyhole surgery. So you have 3 incisions, and it involves tubes going into these incisions and pulling your appendix out basically through it. So you are left with small scars, better than just having one big one. They only would ever have to do one big scar, well, one big incision I should say, if your appendix burst, and they would be able to do it through keyhole surgery. Then they would have to literally just sort of get your appendix out as soon as possible. But because mine hadn't burst, thank goodness, they could do the keyhole surgery. I did go off smiling, which made my mum feel comfortable, because she said to me she didn't know how I was going to react. And before I actually was taken off to theatre, I did quickly phone Phil, because he had to go to work in the morning, and I just spoke to him for a bit, and it was getting me a little bit emotional, but at the same time I was glad he wasn't there with me, because I think it would have made it a lot harder to leave. It was nice to speak to him before I went down, and my mum and dad were there, so I wasn't on my own. And I went off, you know, talking away to these 2 doctors that were wheeling me down on the bed, and I was alright. I was smiling away, laughing with them. My mum plaited my hair before I went, and I felt like a little girl again, you know, but at least I sort of calmed myself down. Well, I thought I had. I was taken into this little room, and there were 2 anaesthetists there, and that's when it sort of kicked in, and I realised this is it. This is where I'm going to have the general anaesthetic, and I'm going through those doors there into having my surgery. Then 2 anaesthetists were there, and I suddenly just went into panic mode, and I really tried not to. And he sort of undone something on my cannula, attached to the other drip, and I was worrying like, is this it, is this it? And I said to him like, is this it? And he was like, no, I'm just sort of flushing through your cannula, it's just salt water. But all my arm and my leg went tingly, and I said to him like, oh no, my leg and arms feel really funny, and he goes to me, you're hyperventilating. And I got myself in a right state, and the other anaesthetist had connected me onto like this heart monitor, and my heart was just going boom, 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 boom. It would just not calm down. I was in such, like I said, such a state. Bless him, the anaesthetist, the older one there, not to offend, but there was a man, I would say late 40s, early 50s, and another one who I'd say late 20s, early 30s. And the older gentleman, he had to come round and he held my hand, and he was like, let me tell you a story. He was clearly just trying to calm my nerves down. And he said to me that he did his first anaesthetic in 1990, and he's done about 25,000 of them. And I was like, what? No way, as if. And he was like, no, think about it. Like, I do 3 or 4 a day. I've done it since 1990. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess so. And he really distracted my mind. And he told me the story, he calmed my nerves down. And he did say to me, did you want me to give you some Valium? And I was like, no, I'm going to be fine, I'm going to calm myself down. If you give me that Valium, I'm telling you now, you won't even need to give me the anaesthetic, because I'll be sonked. And I got them all kind of all laughing, and I got myself laughing in a better mood. And I just said, no, I'm just going to lie down, close my eyes and just do it. Because as soon as we do it, as soon as I'll be back on that ward, and it'll be over and done with. And he was like, that's the right attitude to take. Other anaesthetists had sort of come down to my right hand side, leant across and just put the anaesthetic into my cannula. And I remember saying, oh, I have a really funny taste in my mouth, and then that was it, I was asleep. And I don't remember anything else. I did though, before I did go to sleep, I did say to the anaesthetist, oh, am I going to wake up with the tube down my throat? Because I think that was quite a vital thing to know, and that's what I was most scared about. He did say to me that I will wake up, because obviously once I've had the surgery and he's got the all clear to sort of give me the medication to reverse the anaesthetic, to start bringing me round. Obviously he can't take that tube out of my throat until he knows that I'm sort of coming round and I'm conscious. But he said, I won't remember it. You won't even know a thing. You will wake up and, you know, on the operating table with my tube in my throat, but I'm not going to remember it. And I didn't. And I had the surgery and I woke up. I remember coming around just gently, and I was in the recovering ward, and I had this nurse at my side and they were saying, hello Sophie, Sophie. And I remember opening up my eyes and just said hello, and then they were like, okay, we're going to take you back round to your ward where you were. And I was like, okay. And then I went back to sleep. I just could not keep my eyes open. And yeah, they took me round to the ward, and like I said, I couldn't open up my eyes, but then I could hear everything going on around me, but I just could not keep my eyes open. So I was with it. I was, you know, I could hear what everyone was saying and what everyone was talking about, but I just couldn't keep awake. I just had to keep my eyes shut. And I could hear Jane, bless her, she had phoned my dad and said, oh, she's come back on the ward now. I also heard her say to somebody else, oh, she does look very pale. And I was thinking, oh great, like, right, I better look like Casper now. And then I heard a familiar voice, and it was Phil, and he just literally had walked in, and my mum and dad had clearly phoned him. So I think about 15 minutes later I heard him come into the room, so I sort of turned and opened my eyes to look at him, and he sort of came around the side, and then I went back to sleep. And then my mum and dad had turned up, and then I started coming round and I was more awake and I was talking to them, but I was in pain, and I ended up having this horrible medication called Oro. I'm probably going to get this completely wrong. I think it was like Oro. Let's look it up. Hold on. Oromorph. That's the word. Oromorph. There we go. That is what they gave me, and it was sort of syringed into my mouth. Well, that made me so tired again that I went back to sleep, and it made me feel really woozy. But in the meantime, the surgeon had come around and said to me that I had acute appendix, which meant it was very inflamed, it was angry, it needed to come out. It was a good job they sort of got to it when they did. And then it was just sort of recovering at home. Now, I had been signed off work for 2 weeks, and I really thought that after 2 weeks I'd be right up, going back to work and stuff. But as soon as I got home, you know, it was just those things. I experienced loads of different symptoms that I didn't think I would have, and the upsides to this is that I didn't have to do any cleaning, because I can't do any hoovering or any heavy lifting, and literally you have to have people sort of wait on you. So that's the upsides, I guess, of having a bit of surgery. The upside is you're in pain and you've got to put up with that. Some of the symptoms that I had was that I had really bad pain in my chest and shoulder area due to the anaesthetic. I also had really bad pain in my lower back. That would suddenly come on really randomly and would last for about 15 minutes and then go again. And that would just happen for about 2 to 3 days. So I was so relieved when that went, because that was awful. To wear these horrible TED stockings for 48 hours when I got home. Obviously you have to wear them to prevent getting any blood clots and stuff, and where you're not going to be as active as what you would, you have to wear them. Even though I did try to gently walk to the front door and back again, so literally from my sofa to the front door and back again. Not on my own, I would have to get Phil to help me and he would walk with me, but it was to keep my legs moving to prevent any blood clots. And then obviously it was just the general getting better and the pains and aches that I had from the surgery. I couldn't sleep on my sides, I had to sleep on my back, which I don't do very well. I don't sleep on my back, I am a sleep on my side person, so I had to get used to that. I had to put cushions under my pillows to create more of an angle to sleep at, which I still do now to make it comfortable for me to sleep. And obviously just experiencing extreme tiredness and just waiting for my body to heal and get better. I took the bandages off after 48 hours to be able to allow the air to get to them, to breathe. And I ended up taking my TED stockings off after 48 hours, which that was a really good feeling because they're so tight and horrible and I hate wearing them. I was just wanted to get my own socks on. After 2 weeks, I was okay. I was feeling better than obviously when I first came out of hospital, but I was still sore, I was still experiencing aches and pains. I went to the doctor and I was signed off for a further 2 weeks to allow my body to still get better. And I ended up going back to the doctors quite recently because I was still getting these horrible pains all down my side, and the doctor seems to think it's just my body still recovering, that maybe some of the gas was still trapped, and that could be extremely painful. Sometimes if it gets into your chest it can feel like you're having a heart attack, especially the fact that my abdomen was blown up like a balloon. So I had all the gas inside me for them to be able to obviously get my appendix out and be able to see what they're doing. So my stomach has been very swollen. That's something else. Obviously having swelling, it has been very difficult to find clothing that is comfortable to wear. And like, obviously I didn't wear any clothes for the first week and a half. I was just literally in my pyjamas. And then the second week my mum was like, let's try and put you in some clothes, it might make you feel a bit better. So I'll just be wearing dresses like this that are very loose over my stomach. And I felt better putting clothes on, but I was still relying on like my mum to help me get dressed in the morning because I couldn't even put like my socks on or anything like that. You know, my family and Phil obviously looking after me, they've been absolutely incredible, and I'm so grateful to them for looking after me and really helping me get better, as well as to all my friends as well that have sent me lovely messages and just wishing me a speedy recovery. So I am looking forward to going back to work next week. I will be going back on the Tuesday after bank holiday, and I am excited because I want to get back to normality and start to feel a bit more like me again and not feel like this person that's recovering from surgery and feeling all these aches and pains. I just want to get back to being me. At the moment I'm still feeling quite tired and I could easily go to sleep at like 4 o'clock in the afternoon. So I can see that my body is still telling me that I need to still keep it slow and just still let it recover, because it has only been 4 weeks. And yes, like I've said previously, my body on the outside might look better, but we don't know what's going on in the inside. And if I am still experiencing pains, then that is still a sign to say to me, you know, don't overdo it, take your time, but gradually start doing these things and getting back into a normal routine, which is what I'm doing. And I'm just focusing on being healthy at the moment. I'm looking forward to seeing my granddad, and that's a key at the moment to get better, to be able to go to Spain and see my granddad. Thank goodness all of this happened before I went away with my family, because we've been waiting so long for this. So it is good timing that it happened when it did, because I think you can't fly after having general anaesthetic for like a month. So I'm pleased that that happened. Well, I'm not pleased that it happened at all, to be honest, because I'd rather not have had to have surgery, but I'm happy that if it had to happen, it happened when it did. But that is my, like I said, my experience, and I hope I haven't bored you too much. And if you do have any questions, please do ask in the comments box. And I'm so excited to be back, and I'm going to upload some more videos, not about surgery or appendicitis, but more getting back into fashion and what I'm going to be packing in my suitcase when I'm going away and that sort of thing. And if you have any suggestions, please let me know, because I would love to hear what you would like me to do as my next video or some up and coming videos. And on a little bit more fashion related news, I have created what's called a 21 button account. So what that is I will upload pictures of my outfits that I'll be wearing, and if you like any of the outfits, I have created like this button on the outfit that you just click on, and then it will take you straight to the website of that item. And if you wish to purchase it, it's just a quicker way to purchase the item instead of scrolling through the website. and it'll give you some ideas. If you like my outfit, then you could go and potentially buy it. So I've created this account just because I love talking about fashion, and I've seen it's like something that's up and coming at the moment, and I would just love to share you my outfit ideas. So if you feel you would like to check that out, then please go onto my account, which I'll link in the description box. But my username is Sophie-Anna B, all one word, but like I said, I'll link it in the description box. And if you'd like to follow me on that, then please do. I'd really appreciate it. Do not forget to hit that subscribe button and the bell to get notifications when I've uploaded. And like I said, for the final time, I'll be back with a new video very soon. Bye guys.